What is up guys, Wraec here with a new video, and today we are going to talk about Season Phase 3. I have to say Season Phase 2 went over pretty quickly and yeah, not really for the reasons that you might think. It wasn't really because I enjoyed the content. I still think there was a little bit a lack of that, but I kind of went rather AFK. Have to say, to my disgrace, even missed the last day of Magma's, which struck me deep, I have to say that. It's the first title of a Primal Lord that I didn't get, and yeah, I hate that. I really hate that, I have to say it. But I was kind of AFK, you saw it on the channel maybe, we had like 6 days now without a video, which is insane. It's like the biggest gap I probably ever had on the channel. But now we are closing in on Phase 3, and this is like a good opportunity for me to talk on the one side about upcoming content that is already announced, and I also want to talk a little bit about the heroes that are already announced, and maybe we can talk about some rumors there as well about these skills. AFK Johnny himself haven't really given us a lot of info yet, but I heard some rumors and secrets, so we can give you some info. And yeah, for other things, we get a new Primal Lord that is going to come, the last Primal Lord Crystal Reaver, Phase 3 Titan Reaver, we get the faction talent to Stage 4, so the big enhancement, and Season Artifact level cap 30, which is something that I'm personally rather excited for, because for many of those artifacts, and you can finally see those effects again, by the way, those were available at the beginning, then somehow they vanished, and then they reintroduced those with the last update. Those are really game-changing effects. So for many of those artifacts, there's really big stuff in there. I think we most prominently covered that for Coreforge, where if the sigil remains active for 20 seconds, converts 35% of the affected allies' damage dealt to true damage. We saw in the last season how powerful such effects can be. And here we get it now on this artifact. So this could be very interesting. And for many of those skills, for many of those artifacts, there are very unique skills in there, which maybe we'll make another video on in its entirety. So let's kind of hop into the news. Let's kind of get into those heroes. To my knowledge, this was the last info piece that we got. The Timeless Gala starting soon event calendar, 1.34 patch preview, mid-July, which was like a week ago probably, hasn't really happened. I don't know. Not really too much info there. We got a little bit on the homestead, which is like this business simulation they announced. They released a video and then a very horrible ad. And on the topic of ads, this will be a topic of a future video. One that I plan to make pretty soon. So if there is any ad of AFK Journey that you have seen, let it be on Reddit or you have seen it on Facebook or something, and you think this is an ad that should be covered in a video, then feel free to send that to me. You can either send it to the AFK Journey chat on my Discord server, or you can send me a private message to send that to me as well. And I want to cover some of those ads, because I think since the beginning this has been a rather heavily discussed topic. I have not yet seen that for a game in that severity that it was discussed that much really on Reddit and on other platforms, but certainly AFK Journey has done, well, is it a good job then if your ads are discussed a lot? I don't think the general vibe of those conversations was really what they wanted to achieve. So maybe we talk about this, maybe we make a video about it and cover the ads a little bit. So this is something that you can participate in if you have any ad that you think I should cover. Homestead looks better though than we kind of expected, so that could be pretty cool. And then we have Timeless Gala, Stellar Crystals, new hero Pandora, Mikola skin and more, so kind of seems to be a big event. And we'll get Pandora. Pandora, very interesting character. Actually, we saw first in the last dimensional event with Natsu and Lucy. And she is a dimensional hero. We got the confirmation on that now. She's also going to be a dimensional hero, so we are going to get dimensional summon back. Probably with her as the only available hero. That is the best assumption that we have at the moment. It's interesting that they are going to put her there. It doesn't seem to be a function that is exclusive for collab heroes. Natsu and Lucy, of course, Fairy Tail collab, very big hype, very cool event with a lot of free stuff. And now we are going to receive Pandora. Pandora is a pretty cool hero. We saw this picture of her quite recently. she's a character, as I said, from the Greek mythology. Pandora, known for her box, the box that she opens and releases the curses upon humanity. That is really the backstory. She is usually displayed in a little bit more humble manner, with her box being more of a clay vase. Than really those unique and elaborate box that she has there. But it is a cool design. I like it. So I don't hate on that at all. That is a very, very fine interpretation of her, and I kind of like that. So the question, of course, now will be, how does it work in the end? Is it going to be the same procedure as we saw last time? Are we going to get some free copies maybe? Is it going to be like the last one where we got Lucy to Mythic Plus? This is info that I can't give you. There is no info on that out there. I can just say one thing with certainty on the summons. They really have to go ahead and fix one thing before she's released, or during the time she's released. Because in the Natsu and Lucy event, we were summoning for those two heroes, always under the assumption that we could get more copies later. I upgraded Lucy to P3 on the last day, just thought that would be cool and wanted to have a little bit of an advantage, but the announced system that we got towards the end was that you would basically be able to rent out the hero from another player, and you would have means to get copies if you already owned the hero. So players that didn't own the hero, they should be able to rent it from another player, basically giving them, I don't know, I think it was Dragon Crystals or it was Diamond, something like this, for the copy, and then they could have her and use her, and then at some point they would be able to own her as well. And ever since then, I'm waiting for an option to actually get more copies of my Lucy. If I wanted to get her to Paragon 4 right now, I could see, okay, those are the stats, Ascent, but once I click that, it says insufficient resource, you can obtain them from Dimensional Call, and if I click there, that says Dimensional Call is unavailable. It's of course a question if the upcoming Dimensional Call that we're probably going to have with Pandora is going to fix that, but I assume that this is not going to be the case. I assume that we're only going to be able to summon Pandora during this event. I would be surprised if we see a return of those two characters, because usually for those collab characters, they have like an agreement for a certain amount of time where such an event happens, the heroes can be summoned, where there is advertisements and all of that stuff, and then later on they have to rely on different systems to actually summon them, runs that are not like the normal rate ups. So this is something that would be rather uncommon to see. I wouldn't be opposed to it if it was like an event summon and you could kind of prepare for it and say, okay, this time I want Lucy, this time I want Natsu, and then maybe next time I go from Pandora or something. Would be okay, would be cool with that, but they have to announce that, because now with Pandora coming up, we get kind of placed in a difficult position. Because the thing is, how do you summon for her now? I personally... I read the skill leaks on her, and we can delve into that a little bit. Not too much, though. I don't really want to put out these skills because they might change later. But the thing is, what do you do? I don't really have a lot of gems. I would kind of still want to summon Pandora, but is it urgent? Like, if you were able to obtain her after the event, which was announced during the Natsu and Lucy stuff, well, you don't really have to summon her that high immediately, do you? You can kind of go for maybe Mythic Plus if that is recommended, and they just say, okay, I will get the other copies later, that will be fine. But if it is like now or never, that is an entirely different story. Then maybe you want to go Supreme Plus, then maybe whales want to go and get a higher Paragon even. That is an entirely different story. I don't think it should be a now or never. I don't think that is the way that you can design such heroes. That is just like a little bit too abrupt. Also, we have to see it is kind of a short notice of her being a dimensional hero. Even in the leaks, the dimensional heroes are commonly first light bearers and then dimensional heroes, so really players didn't really know. It's not like they said at the beginning of the season, hey, in season phase 3 we are going to do dimensional hero. That was not really the thing, so we just know about it right now, so it's a little bit of a short notice. I hope that in the preview that they do on this upcoming content, that they already say like, hey, we have the system in place, it is going to come with the update. With the update, you can already see that you will be able to get Natsu and Lucy through some means. and after the event of Pandora ends, you can get Pandora in the same way. That would be what I would be wishing for. You can tell me your opinion on this topic down below. I would be very curious to hear this, but in my opinion, it is rather important that they build trust here and put this patch out and release a way to get those dimensional heroes, because that hasn't happened at all yet, and it is quite late on that. Talking a little bit about her skills, it is quite interesting. Pandora, of course, has that box, and this box is not only the mythology, a rather important part of her figure, but it is also an important part, apparently, of her skills. From the leaks that I have read, this box will remain on the battlefield even after she's dead and be able to cast skills. She's a supporter, so this will be more of a supporter role. We will see some debuffs, we will see some buffs from her, some heals. But the interesting part really is you have this box that stays on the battlefield and still acts and still uses skills even after she's dead. And this is rather interesting because we saw combinations with such heroes being quite meta throughout the recent months. And when I say this, I'm of course talking about Athalia. Athalia having a similar mechanic, not really dying off. Athalia is when she's defeated, she goes into her lance mode. She's a lance, her attack is reduced by 35%, but she still continues to attack the enemies until all other heroes are defeated. I assume this is going to be the same way that Pandora is going to work. When she's defeated, her box stays on the battlefield, it still can do the skills, but when all other heroes are defeated, well, then this box also goes away. So this box doesn't have to be defeated again in that sense. But this can be dragged out. We saw this before. We saw that people were using heroes like Igor that just take very long to kill, that just have inherent immunities, or stall heroes, well, Thorn, for example, that has a safe revive, or more commonly used Tazi. Tazi goes into her butterfly mode and then revives, and you have to wait out this time, and during this time, of course, you can be attacked by Thalia. So this might indicate that there is some combination potential with those two. And if that is the case, well, then she has a chance to actually enter PvP. So this could be very, very interesting. For the players that really focus on PvP and maybe focused on Athalia, this is something that could become very, very interesting pretty soon. So we have to see, we have to wait on it. One thing to note, during the release, Natsu and Lucy weren't really powerhouses. Natsu really stayed quite off meta, we have to say that. Lucy was able to make her way into a lot of those AFK stages, but really none of them were as shiny as people really wanted them. It was, of course, a lot of expectation. The first collab heroes, people expected them to be kind of super strong, and I was honestly happy that they really weren't, because heroes that have a low availability, that are tough to get, being super strong, so making those events like for the entire future, basically, you have to be there and you have to get this hero now, otherwise you have a disadvantage. That would have been bad. Imagine now if Natsu and Lucy would have been super strong. Imagine Natsu being the whole PvP meta. Imagine him being like having the skill set of Athalia. Just imagine that. How crazy that would have been to have a hero that would have been entirely unavailable for months, being the PvP meta. They really only escaped a shitstorm here just by those heroes not being super meta, by there being options to using Lucy in AFK stages, by Natsu not making his way into PvP. So that really kept them away from it. Otherwise, this would have been a huge problem. So I'm more or less hoping for Pandora to not be that great, if I'm honest. But she's also not the only hero that we expect. On the next up on the list is the Collector's Edition. A Collector's Edition gift box was announced. Maybe a little bit of a merch thing. We don't really know what it is yet. I'm a little bit hyped. I think it could be cool. They have some very cool merch. I got some stuff sent over like the year. I have some stuff actually on my desk right now. Some little buttons here with heroes on there. There's actually Carolina. We have Cassidy, Burial. I didn't use them yet, but those are pretty cool. I have a mouse pad from a pillow, so there is some cool merch that they have. And I saw the Chippy figure. They made the Chippy figure. This is also pretty cool. I still hope to get that. And then we have the free new hero Pang, which confused me a little bit. We already got a picture of him. Let's check this out. Wait, this is actually not a picture of Pang, that is our sponsor Loot Bar. So if you want some cheap dragon crystals to prepare for any of those heroes, then check out the link in the description. Click through there, you will get some discount coupons for your next purchase, and you will get the cheapest dragon crystals for AFK Journey. It's actually the best service. I recommend the lock-in top-up for the best prices. Only made good experiences with that myself, and it's actually a great site, great service. So absolute big recommendation there for AFK, for Loot Bar, not only for AFK Journey, but also of course for the other games that they have. But now let's get into Pang. And Pang is also kind of interesting. We saw him for the Sunlit Showdown event in Phase 1, and wasn't really liked by a lot of people. I have to say, I liked the first fights that I did. I like those. I thought it was a little bit too grindy, but I liked the fights, and I was very happy to get the title, because this is actually a permanent title that was from this event. It says Iron Jaw, Nature Lover, Modest Master, Quote Crafter, and what I found to be most interesting about this picture was this picture of Gerda there. Met once. He met Gerda once, so I don't know why they wrote this there, but maybe he gets a quest to explain this. Mentor and friend is Iron, and what really confused me was S tier, okay, Wilder, tank. It's another tank. And this is weird because, well, the Wilder tank section will be quite overpopulated because we have 4 heroes there, which is quite a ton, I have to say. And we already got one this season. We just got a Wilder tank. This was actually the last heroes released. The raid up is still running. Is Thaddeus the Wilder tank. And apparently just for the start of Phase 3, we are going to get another Wilder tank. So it's Wilder tank after Wilder tank this season, which is rather weird, I have to say. Thaddeus was a great release, by the way. We have to kind of wait how Pang is going to work out in the end. I saw his skills too. They were a little bit weird, but quite interesting. Focusing a little bit on buffs for his allies, focusing on a mechanic called Chi Barrier, protecting his allies as well. And it seemed like a pretty reasonable tank with some offensive features, a little bit like Thaddeus. I mean, Thaddeus is a very great hero, actually, with quite some confusing skills, but he did very well in PvP, had some very cool buffs, and it kind of feels like Pang is going into the same direction. Maybe not PvP, we have to see about this, but having like generally good offensive features, not too much in terms of self-recovery, but overall enough to be considered a tank, to feel tanky, and having an overall very interesting set. So we have to see if that is good, if we need another Wilder tank. In general, I'm for variety. So if we have a little bit of a variety in between the factions, you kind of want a tank. Okay, now we have some options. But having the 4th Wilder tank is a little bit weird. I don't even know how many tanks. I mean, here we have also 4 for Lightbearer, but it's the most overpopulated, and with Chippy in there. Does that really count? And 2 of them were from the beginning of the game, so we have received 1 really since the start. We have 3 tanks in the Mauler faction, 3 in Graveborn. 1 is Celestial Hypergen, makes sense. So I guess it's okay. It just feels weird because it's just like we got 1 now and now we get another. Would have been more interesting if you maybe went for the Mauler faction or something, or getting something more up to date in the Lightbearer faction. This was Luca is still from Waves of Intrigue and is still used quite often just for him being like the best Lightbearer tank, and he's not super impressive, honestly. So I would have, if Pang was a Lightbearer, I think I would have liked that a little bit more. So maybe the leaks were wrong on that, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be the case. As of course we have this picture, and there he is also a Wilder. I would have really liked if that was more of a Lightbearer here. I think the decision to release 2 Wilder tanks within 1 season is yeah, a little bit weird. But you can tell me your opinion on that down in the comments too. We have to go to the last hero now, and I have to say I don't really have a lot of info. It's Saida, Hypergen hero, upcoming Hypergen hero. Rogue STO, of course, Vampiric Vine from the Vaduso Mountains, Shed Roots as decoy, instinct-driven, ancient survivor, sensory roots, and the most unique thing, the most secret thing I can tell you about her is she was called Parasite in the files before, and you can kind of see it when you start looking for it. The hairs look a little bit tentacleish. She has this very weird body design that could kind of work towards being like an insect or parasite there. Very veiny. So the design kind of, if you don't know this, then I don't think you would really necessarily think, okay, she could be like a little bit of a parasite-ish design, but once you know this, I think you also see it in the design. So will be interesting to see how that works. I think we have burial kind of taking away HP from the enemies, kind of working that way. But having another strong Hypergyn could be interesting. We got Kulu this season already, which was a very strong hero. For me personally, I mean, I can't say much about her. I would really hope, and this is a hope that is probably lost, but it would be kind of great to her to be really, really weak. If she was really, really weak, that I could say, she has no use at all, I would see this as a golden opportunity to upgrade my Kulu, because I really like her. I really like this wall mechanic and the bombs, and she's honestly my preferred hero here over Saida. I mean, the design is just glorious, and we have absolutely great skills here as well. So having her upgraded at P3, that would be really cool. But when Saida releases, I mean, we have to test her at Supreme Class. We will do so, of course. And so my dream of P3 Kulu probably stays a dream, sadly. So yeah, will be pretty cool. A lot of upcoming stuff here. I thought we discussed it a little bit. Tell me your opinion on all of that down in the comments, especially about the dimensional thing. That is probably what I care about the most. If you have any cool ads, send them to my Discord. And other than that, I wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.